Hi everyone. Today I'll be demonstrating how to integrate native ads using Flurry and Swift. In order to display the various native ad assets, I'll be using a project skeleton containing a pre-built table view controller along with a custom cell class as well as a sample application. If you'd like to follow along, I've provided a link in the description of this video containing this project skeleton as well as the finished product. So let's go ahead and look at our sample application. It has two table cell rows consisting of some labels, an image view, and a description. And by the end of this video, we'll insert a Flurry native ad in between these two table cell rows. The first step to doing that is to bring in the Flurry SDK. Let's go over to File, Add Files to Project. And here I'll just drag in any of the Flurry SDK files needed for serving native ads. I'll check Copy Items if needed and select Add. Next up, we'll create an Objective-C bridging header file in order to use the Flurry SDK. Once again, go up to File, New, File. Under iOS Source, select Header File and select Next. We'll name this file streamtest-bridging header.h, where streamtest is the name of this project, and I'll make sure the target is checked to be streamtest. Hit create. And within this bridging header file, we'll import any of those header files we dragged in the previous step. Here we go. Now in our project root, under build settings, we'll search for Swift compiler, and next to Objective-C bridging header, we'll go ahead and pass in the path to our bridging header file, which is streamtest/streamtest-bridging header.h. Now over in build phases, we'll click link binary with libraries. We'll click this plus sign and it will bring in any frameworks that Flurry needs to serve native ads. The first of those frameworks being AdSupport.framework, AVFoundation.framework, Core Graphics and Core Media.framework, followed by libz.dylib, MediaPlayer.framework, StoreKit.framework, System Configuration, and lastly UIKit.framework. Let's go ahead and add these to our project. With the Flurry SDK and frameworks in place, we'll go ahead and start a Flurry session within our app.delegate.swift. And we'll do that by doing flurry.startSession and pass in our API key. For integration purposes, you're welcome to go ahead and use my API key for testing purposes. Next up, we'll go into our viewController.swift. In our viewController class, we'll import the Flurry add native delegate, and here we'll initialize our ad space. Let native add equal Flurry add native, and we'll use the method with space, and we'll pass in our ad space name here, which is Streamy in my case. Setting up an ad space will take roughly 20 minutes to activate, so you're welcome to use my own ad space for testing native ad integration in your own applications. With that in place, we'll fetch an ad in our viewDidLoad method. We'll do native add.addDelegate is equal to self, followed by native add.viewController for presentation, which is also equal to self. Lastly, we'll do native add.fetchAdd. And what this method will do, it will fetch an ad from the server, and upon success, it will trigger a callback function, which is called addNative.didFetchAdd. And here we'll implement that method in order to grab those native ad assets. So here we'll do addNative.didFetchAdd, and we'll write var asset is equal to native add.assetList, and we'll do self.tableData.append asset, where table data will contain an array of native ad assets, and we'll do self.tableView.reloadData, which will refresh and re-render our table cells anytime new content is added. So next up, we'll just extend our table view to have 3 rows, and we'll change our index path.row to be 2 down here. And here we'll write some logic to contain our native add in between our 2 content rows. If index path.row is equal to 1, here we'll actually check if we have any add data. If self.tableData.count is greater than 0, we know that we've fetched an add and we have access to the properties. So next we'll go ahead and assemble this add. We'll do for var index is equal to 0, index is less than self.tableData index 0 dot count index plus plus, and we'll do var new asset, which is of type any object. It's going to be equal to self.tableData. We'll grab the first elements and we'll iterate over the index. And the index will refer to all the properties of the native add assets: titles, images, the sponsor name, etc. So in order to assemble our add, we'll iterate over each asset name and then we'll pass it into our UI elements. So if the asset name is equal to headline, we'll do cell.stream title label.text is equal to new asset.value. Otherwise, if the asset name is equal to summary, we'll do cell.stream description label.text is equal to new asset.value. Next up, we'll actually grab an image for our add. If new asset.name is equal to sec hq image, we'll construct a URL to grab the data from, which is of type NSURL. And here we'll do NSURL with string is equal to new asset.value. If let actual URL equal to a URL which is constructed from image data, which will use the NSData function, and we'll do contents of URL, which will be actual URL. And next up, if this worked, we'll actually display our image. If let actual image data, and we'll use the image data method. We'll do cell.stream image view.image. We'll use the UI image method to render our image using that data. Next up, we'll just copy the same code that we just wrote. We'll paste it right under. We'll just change the asset name to be sec HQ branding logo. And we'll just change this cell.stream image view to be sponsored image view. The last asset we'll display is if new asset.name is equal to source, which is the sponsor name, we'll do cell.stream source label.text is equal to new asset.value. Let's go ahead and run our application. And here we now have our own content along with a native add and more of our content in one stream. Ideally, you'd have an application which dynamically fetches adds and inserts them between your own content. Thanks for watching.